How'd I do the chat thing? They changed it again, y'all. They changed it. Let's see. There we go. I am beat. I'm really sleepy. I think it's a change in the seasons. Running about 3 to 4 minutes late, signing on. Fell asleep and took a nap. And then was like, oh, what time is it? Looked up and it was 3:30. I'm gonna talk in a little bit. Just a quick story. I'm gonna give it about 5 minutes. I just got in here. Sorry to anybody who could have been in here earlier. I was running a little on the late side. If you come in, give us a like, thumbs up, share it out. A new story time. This isn't gonna be about business though. Ooh, y'all, I had to take a nap. I've been just tired. I think it's our weather's changing. We're starting to get hot. So the weather has changed. And this will not be a business one. This is gonna be about friends and seasons. And we got the war going on. Oh, I don't know where y'all at in the country. If you see this later, I think we had, it was 80 something yesterday, 86 when I was in the car. I don't know what it is because I only took the trash out. It was nice though when I walked out. I got some homework to do. And yeah, it's just going to be a light day today. And I'm very, very tired though. Real sleepy. Hey Tanya, what's up? How you doing? And did you were you the one looking for a car, right? You were looking at a car? You said you were shopping for cars? And what's the weather in Maryland? I know we hit 86. Tanya, you and me both. I ain't been out there yet. I was kind of out there last night because I need to get to the grill, but I had weeds. So it's funny because I'm going to order a little raised bed from Walmart this pay period. And it's long enough. I think it's going to go against the wall here, against the apartment. So I'll take y'all out there when I get it. And I'll have to pull out. They're not weeds. I do have weeds too. But whoever was here before me, she planted these flowers. I think they call like morning glories or whatever. I don't know. And I know they're flowers because it's like they're like a weed. They come up and they get almost as tall as me. They can get it that tall. And I'm not tall. So I'm about 5'2", 5'3". And in the mornings they produce purple flowers. It's pretty if that's what you want, but it's annoying to me because I want something else there. So I gotta get all that out of there. I need to oil I had a little little clipper thing. I need to oil that because he's rusted. He's just sitting in the buckets. $600 a month, girl. My payment, I can't. I'm trying to think. With insurance, mine is like that a month, but by itself, no. Ooh, 600 a month would just totally irritate me. What I'm doing right now is too much. I had a company send me something about refinancing, but I'm really weird about stuff like that. Okay, somebody on here was talking about they were asking me about my car. Maybe it wasn't you. I'm trying to think who was asking me because they said they were shopping for a car. Oh, that's nice. I wish that was me. Well, my car is only 15 grand, but it's going to be, if I just do the bare monthly payments, it's going to be more than that. But when I do I'm going to have to change my bankruptcy to a 13. I'm finishing up some tax stuff right now. And when I do that, it'll be a reorganization. So, because to keep the car, you can't do a 7. Yeah, the car is okay. I took it in for service Saturday of last week to the Kia dealership. They had a special for the oil change and it was due. And then I asked him about the other services because there's a couple of the services I want to get done. He's due for a tune-up. I'm not sure if, because the car still has manufacturer warranty on it. I'm a little, because the car is, I think it's 100,000 mile warranty or 10 years. So 2025 the warranty will be a manufacturer warranty. But because of the fires and the theft thing. Y'all see my little spark from my CPAP. But because of the fire and the theft thing, I think I've got to read this thing. I think they may have extended the warranties on these cars. And so I'm not trying to avoid it out, even though I don't have much time. But tune-ups, really, from what I understand, are not that difficult. All it is the cap, the plugs, new plugs, wires, and the distributor. I think it's a distributor cap and spark plugs. That's it, right? That's pretty much a tune-up to my knowledge. These people, I couldn't pick my teeth up. They said 270 some, almost $300 for a tune-up. I need to understand when tune-ups became so expensive. I was like, when the hell did it expensive? And again, I am an older car person, but even when I had my Scion, I don't ever remember paying over $200 for a tune-up. Um, all my cars, I don't remember paying more than $100 to $150 for a tune-up. And I took them to mechanics. So I'm just a little bit blown away. So I don't know. I might do the guy that Linda was using. I'm just a little leery about. I'm leery about certain things on cars, especially when they're in warranty, and because it's a foreign car. So the dealership guy, I told him there's certain services I can get real cheap at Jiffy Lube. So a lot of the services, like they want the transmission flush, all of the flush of the transmission, something with some kind of fuel cleaning thing, the brake fluid exchange. The brake fluid. Yeah, I found it was cheaper there. I found it was much cheaper. Um, there was a couple of things. The only things that I was concerned about getting done at Jiffy Lube, because I've never taken my car to them for anything. But between, I think it was you and a friend of mine here, one of his good friends, she goes to Jiffy Lube, and I call her my play daughter, Nikki. Nikki's just taking her car to Jiffy Lube. So all you guys seem to have no problem with them, but they'll even do the serpentine belt. But I'm kind of like serpentine belt and the transmission thing. It's flushing some brake fluid. I'm not understanding. Yeah, they want to, well, with mine, they want to do the serpentine belt. There's a whole bunch of fluid stuff. So I can tell you transmission fluid, brake fluid, fuel, something with the fuel they want to clean. The tune-up, I'm pretty sure it needs a tune-up. Tune-up, I'm trying to think what else. It was like a little laundry list, and I have a printout. But yeah, but altogether, that stuff counted up to almost $1,400. I was like, oh my God. So I'm gonna have to piecemeal it. I think like every other pay period, I'm gonna get something done. He did tell me if I found it cheaper, the dealership guy, because we were talking and he went in there and I had my license. He said, CDL. I said, yeah, I used to drive and I taught drivers for a little bit. He goes, so then he walks me out. He's really, really extra nice. I'm like, why is this man being so extra nice? Because I had him dealt with him before. When he got me to the car, because he didn't realize last time, he said, my grandfather was a truck driver. He says, call me about them prices. He says, if you find places cheaper, call me and let me see what we can do. I was like, oh, okay. I'm right here. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah. No, I do need to get out there. I've got to the grill. My grill also, I need to get out and yeah, he did. They tried to do that, and I was like, that's when he asked for the license, and I was like, I don't know that I want to pay. I already got other bills. I'm not trying to add to that. But he told me, he says, and I said, I think I'm just gonna piecemeal it. And I said, meaning that I'll just come in every other month or every other pay period and just have some work done. So since I just did the oil change, not this pay period, but the next pay period, I'll probably take it in and get the tune up. And then I'll just keep skipping like that and just get stuff done. I may still have Jiffy Lube do certain things. Like, to me, the brake fluid, I don't even know the fuel cleaning thing. I'm thinking that's something that, I don't know, the major engine stuff, my concern would be having them do the serpentine belt. Because that to me is like, so the serpentine belt, and I'm not sure, that might be my next move over the tune-up, is a serpentine belt. So I may do the serpentine belt next, because if a belt goes, it's not a good thing. So I may do the serpentine belt next and then do the tune-up. Because the serpentine belt was 200 or something. And then you had the tune-up. That's 200 or something. I'll see. Like I said, I may end up having somebody else do that tune-up because I'm really, I'm going to call around and see if I can get a couple of them. I got an automotive shop down here. I'm going to see if they can beat them. Because then he started talking about, well, you're using, you might be using non-OEM parts, meaning not Kia parts and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, if the part work, I'm okay with it. We do it with insurance now. I don't need. Yeah, well, I would use, so there's one shop I used a long time ago for the Scion that Joe had a friend taking her car to, and they did some decent work. I took my car to them a couple of different times. So I got a couple shops I may call and get a quote on tune-up. Because like I said, the tune-up is just a distributor cap, plugs, the spark plugs, and some wires. It's a tune-up is usually nothing major. Normally back in the day, you do tune-up oil change at the same time, and that was always under $200. Now they talking almost $300. Like I said, I don't remember ever paying $150 for a tune-up in any car I owned. When did a tune-up come up to $300? I was just totally discombobulated. I was, but no, I want to get out there. I haven't done it yet, but and I have a garden soil, everything sitting back there. But if you go back there with me, I got call them weeds. Some flower things are as tall as me, and some weeds back there. So, and then a friend of mine, her sons are here. I almost thought about maybe giving them about 40, $50 because they, just have some cash and ask them to come back there and just clean it up. Because I'm tired. I'm not in the best shape. My left knee is kicking. I got to get to the doctor and find out my left knee is horrible right now. It's just when I go to walk, it's piercing. Yeah, that's how I got the oil change for how much did I pay for that oil change? I don't have my bag over here. Well, it said like it was gonna be a $48 oil change. Then when he says, well, we gotta use synthetic, I'm like, okay, you upselling. But it didn't say nothing about the synthetic on there. So he says it's gonna be $10 more. So when it was all said and done, I paid $60, which is what wound me to. Yeah, I might. That's what I'm thinking about is offering one of her boys to come and just pull out all those weeds, clean it out, and get all the weeds. Linda has a guy, but he charged $80. My patio ain't that big. I'm like, it ain't that big. I can give somebody half that money and have them come do it. I probably can do it myself, but I'll be out there for a minute, going out there chopping the weeds and stuff and pulling stuff out. Like I said, last night I went to go grill some stuff. I had weeds over there, and I had to go out there before I could even get to my grill. I had to start pulling weeds. So I was pulling the weeds and throwing them over. And then my grill needs to be, I need to wash it down, and he's due for his high heat paint. And then I need to get a tarp for him so that he doesn't rust out, because he's got rust on there. Not where he's rusted a hole, but if I don't get on top of it, it's not hard for steel to do that. Yeah, for I used to give my play nephew like 40, $50 and buy him lunch. And I'd have him clean out weeds and do all sorts of stuff outside for me. And he did a wonderful job. And that patio was much bigger than this one. So I don't know. I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to say, ask any of the boys if they want to make about 40, $50 and have them come out here and do that. And I may have them do everything. Have them do the pulling the weeds and then go out there with some Dawn and some water and a couple of Brillo pads and just scrub down the grill once and then rinse it. And then once it's dry, I can go out there with the high heat. I can do that myself because I have the high heat paint here, and then do the high heat paint for the barbecue grill. And it's really not all of it. The only part that's really showing right now is the firebox has some issues. And then I also need to go out there and re-grease the, what do you call them? I have cast iron grill grates, so I need to re-grease those. But I was able to, I did some chicken on there last night. It came out good. I did. I need to get more wood and stuff. That's the only other thing that I need to do. What's your temperature like, though, out in Maryland right now? What do y'all like? Lemonade. Are you talking about for insurance? Is lemonade insurance? What's lemonade? The insurance, right? Okay, yeah, then y'all were. Lemonade is insurance, right, Tanya? Is lemonade insurance? I totally forgot about them. I think they're insurance. I'm gonna call them. Cause who I'm using an agency out here. Oh, renters. Okay, it's a renters part. Okay. I'm using an agency out here, and okay, renters do that. I think they do car insurance too, don't they? Okay, I'm using an agency out here called Freeway, and what they do is they're just a agency that finds an insurance company. So this insurance I got. So the year 2015 Kia is one of the high theft years. I cannot get insurance even with the company I work for. They will not write for my car. I can't get it with any of the primary of the main insurance companies. All of them are anti because of the theft issue with my car. But I will call because I need to call my this insurance season is up in June, so I need to start looking. And another friend of mine works for another company that I was thinking about, but I may check with hers too because they basically rent to people that may have problems getting insurance for various reasons. Car insurance. Mine is not anything to do with credit. It's not to do with driving history. Mine is because of the high theft thing with the car. So I've got to see, and I even went and got the, what do you call it? Where you do the some kind of software for the anti-theft. But then the one guy I was talking to that would have given me a much cheaper rate, oh, you got to load this app on your phone. I'm not loading apps. I'm not driving with app. I'm not doing all that. Because one, I don't like what I've heard about apps, which I don't like, is the apps, if they feel you're driving, and I think I'm a good driver, but if they feel anything about your driving, they can just auto cancel the insurance. I'm not doing all that. To me, look at my record. My record, I don't have any accidents. I don't have any of that, knock on wood. Therefore, guess what? Why are we having a problem? I don't have tickets. I don't have any of that. So I don't want to have to be riding around with an app on my phone and all that weirdness, and no, and tracking me. I got weird. That to me is weird. A lot of times back in the day when I had renter's insurance, it was you could have what was it? With the renter's insurance, you could have the renter's insurance, and it was if you tacked it onto your car insurance, it was like $5 or $10 a month. Now it might be more expensive than that, because I used to have renter's insurance at another place I was at, and it was just included when I got the car insurance. It was so cheap. I was like, yeah, go ahead and throw it on there. It was like 5, $10 extra. So I was like, yeah, throw it on there. But I really didn't look now because, like I said, I'm not with a major insurance carrier. But you just made me think because I totally forgot about Lemonade. And actually, I think Linda, some of her daughter's friends work for Lemonade. So yeah, I might reach out. I totally forgot about them. But I know I'm getting ready to have to do the insurance shopping in May because my insurance for this quarter will be ending in June, and I don't want to re-sign up with the same place because they actually didn't go up. They didn't go down. They went up, and it's not very much. But they're, to me they're still too high. I should at 55. I should be paying a lot less for full coverage. I'm paying like 250, and I should be paying a lot less. Anywho, but yeah, so that's kind of what I'm playing. Have you seen about the war in Jerusalem? What's your thoughts? You saw about the whole Iran thing? And you right in Maryland, so you probably got a whole bunch of action going on around you. Because that's military heaven up in that area. It's too close to the White House. Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I'm working in the industry, not in I do the claims, and folks is shady. That's another thing. I be talking to people. When it comes to insurance, I'm like, y'all shady. They're, not all, but some of them is shady. You talking about the war or the insurance? Because all of the above, everything is weird to me. That's why I like to stay in my house. I'm going to, the channel might be called the Reclusive Network. Just, I went out yesterday. I went and washed the car. I went into the grocery store real quick. I'm just like, I'm gonna get it. Once I level out on some things, I'm probably gonna go back to Instacart delivery. Instacart just gave me a special anyway. They because I hadn't been using them, and I didn't wasn't because I was paying the monthly membership, and I stopped that because I wasn't using them, and they gave me a year special for $20. So I signed back up for that, but I gotta set up my Costco again because I was doing the Costco with an associate of mine, but she's very nerve wracking. And I was like, you know what, me and you're gonna end because I can't with you right now. And because she, Costco's coming up. Are you gonna keep it? Or are you gonna keep it? And she asked like five. I was like, well, let me just check and think about it. And then like 2 days later, she bought. You know what? Cancel it. Just cancel it because I can't with you. So I'm gonna just get it on my own, and then I'm splitting it with Linda. So me and Linda don't split it because, like I said, no offense to baby girl, I can't. She was too nerve wracking. Um, Linda's more laid back. I'm like, I can't, and I'll get it. And I told Linda I'll get it for the first year for us, and then after that, me and her will split it if she wants to continue. Um, and for me, I'm not gonna be. She knows I'm not gonna be as nerve wracking. Oh, girl, and I'm also gonna go ahead. I think I'm gonna get the Walmart membership as well. Okay. So who do you have for health right now? Who? Because that's what the idea was health insurance. Who do you have for health right now? Is that their? Is Maryland Health like their Medicare or Medicaid? Because I know the Medicaids may be named different things in different parts of the country. Like ours here is Access. So that's our Medicaid. Ooh, girl, Kaiser. I don't know about Kaiser back. I don't know about Kaiser now. But Kaiser Permanente, some of the best insurance in the country. Them folks were bomb back in the day. I've dealt with Kaiser before. Matter of fact, I was working for a company called Apria, and I used to always work with this lady would always get me sometimes from Kaiser, and she loved getting me. She said, if you ever decide to come here to California, I got a job for you. She would have hired me at Kaiser. Kaiser is a bomb company to work for. I don't have the desire to live in California, but their bomb, their insurance was, I don't know, again, that was back then. We're talking over 10 years ago, but Kaiser insurance was phenomenal. I don't know if it's good as it was back then, but it was good. Kaiser's good. Yeah, that's what I like to. And Kaiser handled their stuff. United Healthcare, who I worked for a hot second, they used to be like that, and so the number one in the country is Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's what I have, and then number two would be United Healthcare. Number three would be Aetna. Those are your top three insurance. But when you get into companies like Kaiser's just their service was impeccable. When I got real sick in my late 20s, when I first came down with the blood clots and stuff, and was hospitalized in and out, and my other insurance was free fall, United Healthcare is when they picked them up, and United took care of me. But then when I was working for United Healthcare, just getting my freaking blood pressure medicine, they became too control freaky. So they wanted to control like even the type of medicine. So I take two blood pressure medicines. They want my well, you can take one pill and so I had to pay out of pocket because these people are haggling over my blood pressure medicine, and I needed a real refill. And it was funny because I wasn't with them that long, and then I went over to Aetna. Child by. So for me now, you can keep I don't really want United Healthcare because I don't like you haggling over my medicine. And it's funny because Linda said she has had problems with them too. I think their service were great when I used them, but when you that nitpicky and we already paying into insurance and and you gonna try to tell me what my doctor should write me, I don't ever have. Aetna has never argued with them, and Blue Cross Blue Shield has never argued with them. Whatever my prescriptions are, they cover. They not going, oh, you should get only this. Hell's wrong with you? They want to argue over what type of medicines they were going to pay for, and what the hell's wrong? Who does that? Yeah, we're done. So yeah, when I went over to Aetna, I was grateful because Aetna's insurance kicked in right away, and I was able to start. But I had to pay out of pocket because I was like, I'm out of meds. I don't have time to pussyfoot around with y'all. And I ended up having to pay out of pocket, and I don't even think I had time to reimburse before I was over at Aetna, and I was like, next. So I have to even worry about it because I've never had any other insurance. But that's the only thing. And other than that, when I was sick, I was sworn by United. They did very well by me. But when I went to get those prescriptions, and it was funny because I was saying something to Linda, and Linda said, girl, me and my daughter have been having problems with them. And her daughter was under her father's health insurance and was having problems getting prescriptions and stuff. And so I think now Linda's got her where she's at the company I used to be at. And I think they're Blue Cross. Was they Blue Cross? Yeah, they were Blue Cross too. They were Blue Cross Blue Shield as well. I think so. Pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I think so. And so I love my Blue Cross Blue Shield. I don't have no problem with them. Although I'm in a settlement for them too. I don't know all the details. I'm still waiting because some idiot decided they had come up with the conclusion. I don't know what we're gonna get. It might be chump change, but we something about some of the enrollment practices they were doing back in the day. So we'll see what that comes out to be. Anywho, I wasn't gonna get on here and talk about it very much. Just something came to me. So I watch. This is two young ladies. I don't want to mention. I mentioned them in a previous video. I don't know these women from a can of paint. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna say my health insurance is probably about $150 every pay period. So yeah, to me that's a bit much, but it's just me. And I chose because of my age. I did choose some of the more upper, so you could choose different levels. And because of my age and my underlying health issues, I did choose some of the top insurance options. So I'm going to pay more. So for example, they did have a high, was it a, I forgot what it's called. It's some really expensive. I chose a PPO plan. So okay, yeah. See, the older we get, you gotta have decent insurance. You can't. The kids can go cheap because they in most cases they're not going to run into some of the health issues we are. Um, but I couldn't go cheap, and also I chose the PPO because I didn't want to be limited to just a network group of doctors. If I want to go, and my doctor at the time wasn't retired, so even if she wasn't in the primary Blue Cross Blue Shield network, I could still use her. And that's why I went PPO. But also, let's say I get referred somewhere for, a health crisis. I don't want them sitting up there. I can only go to, their health provider. I can't. So, yeah, yeah, I had to change it up. I did, and I went ahead and went to PPO, and I did choose their most expensive of the health insurance because, like I said, I'm on a blood thinner. I have high blood pressure. I'm a diabetic. I'm obese. What else I got going on? I have gout. The gout. So my two hereditary things are gout and the blood clots. Those are hereditary. I could be skinny and hula hoop a Cheerio. Those are two areas for me. Diabetes could also be hereditary because Monty's mother had it, Monty had it, and both of them were very thin people. So Monty was never fat. My grandmother could hula hoop a Cheerio on Monty's side, and she was diabetic. Matter of fact, I don't even think she knew she was diabetic till around her stroke. Okay. Um, but yeah, so for me, and then the gout. The gout is another thing. So the gout runs on my mother's side of the family. Her father had gout. And Papa was a big guy, but he kept his weight pretty down. But my grandfather was 6 foot something. And he kept his weight down pretty decently. If he put on weight, he would lose it. But he got gout really bad in his knee. And I remember before the treatments they have today, we would have to take him to the doctor. And that then, in order to deal with the gout, they would shove a needle in your knee and pull the fluid off. Girl, you could hear that man screaming into the waiting room. That's how painful that was. And so now you've got stuff like was it allopurinol? Allopurinol. I take that on a regular, and I also another thing that's great to keep the uric acid down is I drink tart cherry juice, and I also have tart cherry juice tablets. So I do those. And that keeps my gout if I ever have a flare, but it also keeps the uric acid down. So that's how I've been doing it. I am leaning towards joining what's this fitness place? Planet Fitness up here. I'm leaning on joining that. Just so I can have a bike because I right now the treadmills but I need to get the weight off because if they're going to have to get to the knee, I got to get the weight off for them to do any kind of repairs of my knee. So my aunt just had double knee surgery. She's not heavy. She's thin. I don't know if I think I heard rumors that my biological mother had some kind of knee surgery. I don't know if it's true or false. But yeah, I need to do that too. But I don't know if we're gonna get to that, but I know the weight has to come off. But the only way when I broke the ankle, I lost like 20 pounds just doing the stretches, and they had me do the, what's that bike? The bike you sit on to sit down in the bike. They had me do that every time I went in. And I was going to that 3 times a week. And to bring my leg was atrophying from, being in the cast. So I'm thinking about doing the bike again because that's it. My concern though right now, I don't know if you heard about all of the stuff with Planet Fitness, and they've had bomb threats. They're having financial issues because of you heard about it. So they had the bomb threats. They've had the financial issues. So apparently a lady walked into the women's locker room. There was a transgender male to female. So he's changing from a man to a female. And I guess she took pictures. Well, I think they prohibit you against photos or something like that. Well, they ended up canceling her membership for taking the photos of the transgendered male. But see, this goes back to a discussion I was saying before. You got the right to. I may not agree with stuff. I believe you have a right. You got the right to cut off parts. You got the right to call yourself whatever you want. But I do have a problem when people impose that I'm looking at you with a beard and I'm supposed to say she and you're offended because I don't say she. Well, my dude, you look like a dude still. You don't look like a chick. Now, there are some that have and I can look at them and go, girl, because they look like a girl. Even though I might not agree with it, if that's what you want to be a call, I'm not offended. You go ahead and be in there. But trying to switch gears because that's where you are, to me, that's messing with my mental stuff. But also, I think because, and I said this last time, some of us have been through sexual traumas. And even though, old boy to girl wants to do that, they may not be fully there. I'm thinking give them their own bathroom until you get there. Give them their own private thing, and you can say this is, and people who may be okay with that, that's fine. But to put women in that position where it can be a traumatic event, I have problems with that. And or if that, and or if the person is playing games and they got other stuff, that other agendas, some people it might not be there. They might just be trying to get up in a women's bathroom or women's for other purposes that are sketchy. I know that's weird, but it happens. So to me, it's something that needs to be dealt with differently, especially in those situations. And yeah, even the ones, I don't know that it would be comfortable for men. I think there's still physically a woman is not usually going to overpower a man, but a man can physically overpower a woman in most cases. So those are very okay. You understand what I'm trying to say. I can't. And so you have to be careful nowadays because YouTube wants you to be politically correct on stuff and they may ban stuff. But yeah, that my concern is more, I think we're dealing with a lot of issues, safety issues, trauma issues. Yeah. And like I said, for me, and I had a friend of mine, we worked together years ago, and she said it bothered her. She'd been raped, and she also had some sexual abuses in her family. And so she had some traumas. And she said, I'm not comfortable with, even if somebody tells me they're a man switching to a woman, and yeah, I have Christian views, she said, but even if I put that on the table, which is already hard, and I just look at the facts, I have a problem with a man who is saying he's becoming a woman coming into the women's restroom. I just don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe. So what about her traumas? What about her issues? What about her concerns? And, all because we're trying to make somebody who's going through whatever they're going through be comfortable for them. Well, what about comfortable for me? So I have some problems with it. But yeah, we have one over here. I thought about it. We also have what's called LA Fitness, and they have a pool. And even though I'm fat as hell, I can swim like a fish. And a pool wouldn't be bad for the knee either. That would be good exercise as well. So we'll see. And then I got to find a new doctor. And I haven't done that yet. I was going to talk about this subject, and I'm just going to share. And I'm going to tell my story time with it. So as most of us, we get algorithms. We watch feeds of stuff. There's a minister that I like to watch. Young baby. And she's real powerful. Very wise. And her speaking, I listen to her. She happened to be she came up in a feed, and she was on these two young ladies' channel. and they were friends. They're not friends now. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. And they went to do an interview with her, and it was a great interview. Actually, it's a two-part interview. But the one, and you could tell they both said that both their parents had been ministers, pastors, right? And one of them was coming. You could tell she had come back to the Lord. She had been through some stuff. She'd been through a divorce. She had children. The other chick that was with her is a comedian, and I think she was the main person for this channel, who the channel was really under. And she created a podcast, or a video podcast, whatever you want to call it, where she was doing these videos, and they would just talk about different subjects in life and stuff. And then they would bring on guests and they would interview them. Well, as the other one was going through the Christian journey, and the other one saying she is going, the one who's a comedian says she is going through the Christian journey, question mark. You're listening to both of them, and you could just see, apparently they had been friends for, I think they said like back in high school or whatever. So, and I'm estimating these two young ladies are in their 30s. They're under 40 is what I'm estimating. So I'm estimating under 40, maybe early 40s, but I'm thinking under 40. So they're talking, and the young minister girl said, "How long y'all been friends?" And so they said how many years it was, like back in high school, whatever. And because you could kind of see there was this odd, how can I put it? There's a very close friendship. It was just odd close to me. I'm just gonna put it like that. I can't, I just can't put my finger on everything, but it was odd. And it could be odd because anytime people have dysfunctions, they may bring those dysfunctions into the friendship, if it's allowed. So the one girl, apparently she had been the one who's really, in my opinion, pursuing the Christianity. Again, both of their parents were ministers, pastors, but the one who seemed to be pursuing the relationship with the Lord had been, I know she's divorced, she had kids, so single mom, and she had children. And I think her son she just found out her son was autistic or whatever. So she's got a lot of stuff going on her plate. She had depression issues, some other things going on, and you could hear it. But what I heard in her was, there's a point where we hit a point of maturity. And when we hit that level of maturity, there's a wake-up call. So some of it is just age. Like I was just sharing with Nikki, because Nikki hit her 40s. And I know when you hit your 40s, we call it, my dad, my grumpy used to call me a middle-aged crazies, because you hit that point where you're like, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. You have regrets, and now you're trying to backpedal. One of the reasons I went in truckload, I was in my middle-aged crazies. I'm going to say that. It was that point in there where I was like, okay, I'm tired of being in the corporate office. I want to travel. I want to get out. I want to see the world. Well, I'm too fat to be a flight attendant, and I'm not somebody who really likes to fly. So what is it that I do like to do? I love to drive. And I used to get on the freeway and see the trucks and go, ooh, that would be kind of a cool job, just traveling everywhere. So I wanted to do something different. We all hit that. You just said, yep, you know what I'm talking about. So when you hit the 40s, it is something that happens, because that's that middle point before life starts really changing. When the body starts saying, okay, I'm aging. I'm gracefully now going to the mellow mode, and life is changing, and I'm wrapping it up. I don't want to, I don't want to be in the same mode, unless some people have found the career they're gonna be in, and they started it when they were young, and praise Jesus, it was everything they wanted it to be. Others of us, you did jobs, you did what you had to, you paid the bills, but it wasn't necessarily your happy place. So when you come to that point of realizing, am I really happy here? COVID did a lot for people, where a lot of people started saying, I'm in this job that I absolutely hate. The only reason I do this job is because I have to do it to pay bills. And so that's when you saw a lot of people that they called it, everybody started quitting and traveling and doing stuff that was different, because they were like, I'm not happy, and I'm already sitting here now, and they're now shut in their house contemplating their life. Oh, y'all forgive me. So these two young ladies watching the show, I watched the interaction. Now, I'm going to give my assessment. One of the young ladies was more refined. That's the best word I can put. She was much more groomed, much more polished, a little more professional, in my opinion. The comedian chick, I ain't gonna say she's a Monique, but so I'm gonna stop here with this. Let me back up on comedians. So I have an old buddy of mine, and he had some issues. We used to work together, but he said something to me, and there's some wisdom if you listen. People sometimes throw wisdom on the plate. And his wisdom was most comedians are angry, and that's why they're funny. And so some people think I'm funny, and I have to admit, I didn't think about it in that way, but I believe he's absolutely right. A lot of people who have areas of their life that has pissed them off, or things or situations are angry about them. In order to cope with them, you can make them become comical. And all that is a way for you to cope with the madness. Hey, Kathy, what up? Hi, everybody. How's Texas? What's that Texas weather like? Um, and you was talking about gardening there, Tanya. So I did get my gardening hat out. So you can see my garden hat is out, although it was under something, so it got twisted. But my garden hat is out. I'm gonna get another one because I saw them at Food City. But I got my garden hat. It's twisted here. I gotta fix that. But you know it's supposed to go down. So yeah, my garden hat is out. My shade hat, I pulled it out. Um, what's the weather, Kathy? What's the weather? And I'm just talking. So he said to me, he said, everybody who's like comedians, they tend to be angry, which is why they're funny. And I'm thinking, and he was funny too. He was a gay dude and he had drug issues. I didn't found out later Eddie was funny, but he had a lot of issues. We got along great, but I didn't, he had some issues. I didn't really, thank you. I didn't really, I got that one from a Fisher's Market. Chula Seafood. Let's see, Chula Seafood. All right. And I think they started out in San Diego. We have one here. They're really good. And they have their fish come in fresh daily. They were really, really good. Really, really expensive too, but good. I never really thought about it, and the more that I dealt with my own self and my own stuff, and as I have been very transparent, which, like I said, some family members, I'm a heavy cup of tea because I'm just so real. I'm not. There's people, and I watch them. Like me and Joe and Linda went out. What was that Friday night? Was it Friday night? Yeah, Friday night. Joe was like, "You want to go for Crunchies?" And he came pick me up. Crunchies is tacos. Well, not tacos. It's Mexican, and we get a hatch chili cheese crisp, and we just sit and eat chips and salsa, and we might have a margarita or tea or something. It doesn't matter. We're not me and Joe, and most of the time margarita ain't got no liquor in it. And then that, or I might do a Diet Coke with lemon. I might have a margarita. It just depends. And we just sit there and we eat the crunchies and just laugh and talk about stuff. And then if Linda come, we really gonna laugh. And then they both think I'm funny. And I never saw myself funny, but I understand now when my old friend said that most comedians are angry. Now I don't consider myself a comedian, but the funny part, the sarcastic part, is the anger. So I'm gonna deal with this in a bigger way. And the reason I want to talk about it because when I saw the dynamics, because these two ladies' friendships has dissipated, so they're not supposedly friends anymore, and you can tell because you can watch both channels because the more polished one has started her own channel. So when I watched this, there's a lot of things that came to mind. So when I found out that the friendship broke up, and I've been watching the internet drama between the two of them. So the more polished one, she's handling things good, and I'm hoping she doesn't stoop down to her old friend's level because the comedian friend she's raw. I'm gonna put it like that. She's coming hood with it, and because she's hurt, and I think she's angry. And all anger is, another friend of mine who used to go to counseling, and she said this to me, and at first I didn't believe her, but it's true. Anger is covered up hurt. That's all anger is. Somebody has wronged you, somebody has offended you, you're angry, and anger anger wants to snap back. Anger wants to get you back. Anger wants justice. It wants to see you pay, and it might not even be just. It wants to see you pay for what you did that hurt me. So all anger is covered up hurt. Anger is us lashing out because somebody has hurt you. Okay. And at first, I didn't agree with that. That was in my 20s when I had heard that. And a friend of mine, white chick, her name Charlotte. Charlotte was Mormon, and her father was a highway patrolman here in Arizona. Very racist. He was, not her. And so, and her mother was an RN. Her mother was nice. I met the mother. I met the racist daddy. He's deceased now because I think on her Facebook page I saw they had buried him, and I'm presuming her mom might have passed too. We lost contact. We were on Facebook together, and I don't go on the Facebook under my actual name. I'm never on that one. So I'm always under the one that's under either my barbecue sauce name or my ministry stuff. So I'm always on that one. And when I say always, I pretty much post to the ministry stuff and then I'm out. I don't really stay on there long enough for much of anything. When I didn't know they had broke apart because I had never heard of these two young ladies before. The only reason I watched their show was because this ministry chick was on there. And then I saw them together. I'm like, oh, it was a pretty good little show they did. The interaction was good. There was some humor in there. They were both so kind of, in my sense, polar opposites that it was kind of actually a good fit because you saw two different extremes of black girls and of young black women, black girls. Wendy, what's up? How you doing? How's your weather in Colorado? Probably cooler than Arizona. But you saw two different, type of black females. And I saw the more refined, kind of like more, when I look at her, she reminds me of a refined Michelle Obama. And not saying just how she carries herself. Because there's a way that in our culture, I'm seeing there's two different ways. So I'm going to tell this story real quick too. So my old supervisor at the bank in Texas, the Wells in Texas, we were talking about stuff and she comes up from the hood environment. And so she considers me, even though when I came into the company, I was under her, she considers me a mentor because of considers me her mentor because of my corporate background. And when I left, she's like, you're my mentor. I was like, I said, you were my mentor. She says, doesn't matter. You have a much longer and much more in-depth corporate background, and you even have more management experience than I do. And she said, that's why I was hoping you stay so we could, no, y'all got too much going on in Wells Fargo. And like I said, shortly thereafter, I don't know, for 6 months, whatever, after I left, they was all in the news. And she's had some things happen. But in her corporate career, we would talk about things, and there's ways she would carry herself. And I would have to say to her, I said, when you start thinking of how they do things that are more what I call a hood look that they think is attractive and is hoodie. And I see it even in recent corporate jobs. Okay, I see it even in the corporate jobs today. And the girls are mimic themselves after what's that, Cardi and what's the other hoish one? They mimicking their looks after like a Cardi and after, what's the other, Nicki Minaj, that hoish look. There's nothing refined and regal. And they're considering that attractive and considering that a good way to do it. It's like I just had a family member of mine and I saw how they were mimicking a very special event towards how these other Hollywood people do their stuff. I got an associate of mine right now who did a graduation for her son. And both her boys are good. Both of them are doing phenomenal education-wise for two black boys to do what they're doing, and to my knowledge, not doing drugs, and now got babies all over the place and really good grades. I don't have a problem with you celebrating, but somehow the celebration was done was just, it was hood. I was like, okay, there's some ninja stuff. There's a classy way to carry yourself, and in the corporate arena, a much more conservative, classy, non-ghetto look. I'm gonna put it like that. Well, the one chick, she's more refined. The comedian one, I got hood. I'm like, oh, okay, you got that, you think that this hood stuff is attractive. It's like Grumpy. Grumpy thought that some of the look he had was, he thought he was, and he looked like a pimp. And so when the kids would see him, they're like, hey, what's up, pimp daddy? I mean, they would, and he was like, he get mad. I was like, bro, you do look like a pimp. To him, he had a hood mentality of what looks good. So let me ask you a question. If you look at Obama, how he carries himself, and you look at how you look, what do you see the difference? He get quiet. Because see, in your mind, because you had that hoodness, you think Obama's a nerd. Whereas in reality, he's more relatable to all cultures, to all people. You have pigeonholed yourself into this pigeonhole where this is where you're at over here. Whereas he's more relatable. There's a way you carry yourself. And if you do, you're more relatable. So, although it also could scare certain folks because you are that relatable. And it's just like I said, it's the difference between how Michelle Obama carries herself and Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. I'm just saying. And not saying they can't look, but there's that little hoodness that's there. I'm not, I'm not knocking that both of them have their own attractiveness, but there's a way you carry yourself that's a little more refined, okay? So I could see this not only in, and this is in that video, the first video I saw with these two young ladies, but you could see the difference in personalities, even how they dress. Like even if you looked at the two channels now that they're separate, the one chick who her look is business, it's regal, it's professional. I was like, go on, girl. Cause and she's starting from the ground up because the other chick had the platform. So she came into the platform for this other girl. And I guess initially she was just a friend behind the scenes, helping with stuff behind the scenes. And then somehow they decided to do the dual podcast together. And that's when they had this minister and other people. They've interviewed other people. But then the friendship broke apart. And I could tell in the interview that they were doing with the minister, it was Jackie Hill Perry was a minister that they were interviewing. I could tell when they were doing that interview, there was a difference between the two young ladies. And I'm pretty sure Jackie picked up on it too. Because there was something she said about, I prayed for the one, the comedian one. She said, I prayed for you in my prayer closet. She meant it in a kind way, but it also, that was a huge statement because if you're anybody who can discern things, I could just, I'm not in that room, but I could discern from what I'm seeing. These two women are two different places spiritually. One is hungry, trying to get her relationship right with God. The other one saying she's trying to get her relationship with God back, but she's got she got some stuff to go through because she's still too attached to the world. Okay. Whereas the other one is at that point of God is wanting to do something with you because you're there. He can start moving to use you and transform you. When you're not on that same page, then there's going to be a split that's going to happen. And this is what I want to say, seasons. Friendships can have seasons. So for some of my young folks who are out here, this my bestie, this my buddy, yada, yada, yada. I do have a best friend. I haven't talked to her. I'm talking about a month or so, but I've been working a lot of stuff and we have to I have to check on her. But we both have got a lot that has happened. But I would say we're best friends. I had another friend that I was extremely close to in high school. And I would say she was second to my best friend, Jane. And her name was Jossie. We became friends in high school in my junior year, and it was not a friendship that I pursued. Me and Jane's friendship was kind of a mutual thing. It was kind of like we were just kind of put together, and we just clicked instantly our freshman year. We sat next to each other in an auditorium, and we became friends. The other friendship with Jossie was a friendship that Jossie initially pursued. I did not. I didn't know Jocelyn. Well, back up. In high school, there wasn't a lot of us. So you could count the blacks and the Latinos on your hands at my high school. Okay, so 10 fingers, 10 toes. That's about us. And the rest, everybody else was white and a lot of Mormons because we went to a predominantly white school. And in Tempe. So my high school was a lot of white folk, a lot, and a lot of Mormon kids. And I got that's why I'm familiar with Mormons, and didn't have too many problems with the kids. But kids can be different from parents. And I didn't know much about their religion. I just knew that they were Mormon. In our high school, even though I would probably be by most standards a nerd, I was quiet, and that's because I was in a very abusive household. I was raising my brothers. I had a lot on my plate when I left my school that was very silent of what I was going through. So I was really quiet kid. And on top of that, I had the whole dealing with the gay thing, dealing with the Christian thing. And I would be sitting in the quad reading my Bible daily. And that was my coping mechanism. So Jane and I were friends. She knew about the abuses going on in the household. And then when things got really bad in my junior year, and I ended up living with my grandfather. So during that year, and I'm just story time, I'm going to bounce around a little bit and then I'll make a point at the end. I'm in my junior year and I'm in my chemistry class. There's a young lady in the class named Jossie, or Jocelyn was her name. Now, Jocelyn's uncle was actually, two of her uncles were in politics that I met. One that was married into the family, and he worked directly with our Governor Babbitt back in the day. And then her other uncle was, so I don't mean state itself, but for like the city of Phoenix, he was one of the state or city of Phoenix councilmen, senator people, right, for the government downtown Phoenix. And I knew of him. I knew of him. I didn't know that was her uncle till later on. Her parents, I finally did not know. Both of them knew my parents. They knew my mother more so than my father, because my father was only here for a short amount of time before he got shipped to Texas. But they knew my mama, and they knew my grandfather. They knew my mom. They knew them people. They knew my mom's side, right? So Jossie we're in our chemistry class and we were in chemistry together. Now Jossie was a letterman for choir because the baby could blow. I mean blow. Operatic type blow. Okay. Very well trained up in here. Girl, all up in here. Blow. And so she was a letterman, popular. Everybody, like I said, we all knew each other. All black folks knew who the black folks were. We knew all the Latinos, all the minorities knew each other. We knew each other. We knew each other. Everybody knew each other. Because we were the minorities, right? And you were popular just because you were a minority. So they knew Shannon was the quiet chick that sat in the quad with the Bible. I was very well known. Jossie was known for, being a letterman for choir. We had another chick there. Karen was basketball. All the Livingstons were basketball. Her sister and all of them was basketball and jocks. And we all knew each other. So in my junior year, we're sitting in chemistry class and Jossie slides me a note. What you doing on the weekend? And I didn't even talk. I mean, I knew of her, but I don't know her. And I'm like, nothing. Just nothing. And then she sent another note. You want to go to the mall? And I'm like, okay. Because at this time I'm living with my grandfather, and I'm like, what mall? I pretty much I hung with the old people. My grandfather, my father's mother, my grandmother, and a play aunt. Well, an aunt by marriage, we call play aunt. An aunt by marriage, we call Miss Pearly. Those were the three people I really hung out with on the weekends, or I just stayed in my room and did whatever. I homework, whatever. I was pretty much, that was me. I didn't do a lot. As far as I wasn't partying, that was never my thing. So we hung out, and come to find out, her parents they were living in the family home her father grew up in, which was just up the street from where my grandfather was. So I wasn't living in Tempe because I was with my grandfather. My mother had lived in Tempe, and now that I'm living with my grandfather, I'm back in Central Phoenix. So I was taking the bus from my grandfather's house, which was a very long ride, to go to high school every day because my mom was too belligerent to sign over custody to my grandfather. Drama. But it's okay because I still got a high school education, even if you want to be a butthole. And it was meant for me to be at Tempe High. Even if you want to be a butthole, God had plans. Jossie and I became very good friends, and she pursued the friendship. I believe there were some other underlying issues, I'll leave that there, that she needed to deal with that I don't think she ever dealt with. But we became very, very good friends. When I got really sick, she was the one who came and got me initially and took me to the hospital that really laid out what was going to be the upcoming problem, which was a clot. They're the ones that went to investigate it and had something in the blood work that triggered them to look for a clot. And that opened the door that once I did have the clot, that my doctor knew what to look for, because he went back and looked at the hospital records. And when he started flipping through, he's like, I think that's a blood clot you got right now, as my leg was swelling. And then I got sent to another hospital where I was at for a while. In and out that hospital, like I said, for 3 months. Or 6 months, 6 months. 3 different times, 6 months. So Jossie and I became very good friends. And our friendship lasted from high school all the way up until we lost communications by the age 25. And what had happened was I was starting to try to transition back into Christianity, and Jossie was dealing with some other stuff. I'm just going to say it like that. And we had never verbally talked about the other stuff because I was always very protective of her as a friend. And B, I'm happy that we never really dealt with it the way we probably might have, and it wouldn't have been good for either one of us. So we were going, and it wasn't that she's a bad one, into drugs, none of that. She had some other issues that she, in my humble opinion, had not dealt with. And she needed to deal with them. She really did. And I think her mother suspected some stuff, but her mom was special. So it was what it was. And I was exploring my world, and Jossie was staying within the confines of hers with, I think, her own confusion, her own issues, and not dealing with them. And so as I was out there doing my stuff, and then when we hit 25 and God started dealing with pulling me back into Christianity, my world started changing. And then I answered the call to ministry at 30. And even still, I was having some up and down, but my world started changing. And I had a dream that our friendship, there was going to be some distance with some friendships, and or that some friendships would be cut off. Jossie was one, and another good friend of mine, Anthony, was the other one. Anthony had moved from here. We used to hang out all the time to, matter of fact, Tanya's neck of the wood. He was up in D.C. So he left Arizona, went to D.C. A friend of his, Tara, had worked for the FBI out there after her intern. She did an internship there and was working for them. And he was living in McLean, Virginia, as a matter of fact. And then he ended up moving from there to the Florida Keys. But those friendships have seasons. And sometimes, we see things that, oh, I've known this person since I was in high school, or we were kids together. Not all friendships are to be long term. And the other thing is that when God is getting ready to do something with you, there are some people he will shake loose from you or cut loose from you. So, for example, me, Joe, and Lynn, me and Joe used to hang out a lot. I mean, a lot. We haven't been hanging out like that. It's every blue moon that Joe and I hang out. Now, Joe is much older. He is. Every blue moon, we'll still hang out occasionally, but every blue moon, but also Joe and I are on 2 different pages. Joe's understanding of Christian spiritual things, not there. He says he's Catholic, but in reality, Joe is, in my humble opinion, what I know of him, he's a New Age metaphysical religious believer. That is his, even though he doesn't put it in that confines, that's what he practices. He practices New Age metaphysical belief stuff. He's anything go wrong, health, anything, that's the first thing he goes to. He don't go to a Bible. He don't go to the priest. He goes to the metaphysical New Age stuff. That's what he goes to. That's just his his stuff, and that's his journey. I'm praying for him, but that's his journey. But when I saw this breakup between these two friends, and it got me to thinking back to how Jossie and I's friendship, because we were close, how that friendship finally ended, because our friendship did end. The last I saw, she might not even be alive anymore. She had the worst form of lupus, and when I found out about it, we were 30. We were in our 30s. I had answered the call to ministry. We had dealt with some stuff because I did start having to deal with some things that were put on the table. So I was like, we need to deal with this. And then she like, no, but I'm like, you did this, this, and this. So you did these things, sister. You need to explain because that's not normal behavior. I mean, in the sense of who you portray. You're portraying this, but you're saying and doing this. And like I said, she pursued our friendship. And there were things that she brought to the table that I wasn't even talking about, what I was dealing with, some of my own stuff. So, for some friendships, need to break apart because God has other plans. And when I saw these two young ladies, and there's other YouTubers, I guess, that are talking about them, because the comedian chick, her channel, I mean, she's like I forgot how many million viewers. She's might have a couple million viewers on hers. And, when you get into the mil range on YouTube for subscribership, A, you making some decent money, but B, you've got a pretty decent platform. The other one who was with her was her friend in the background, who initially she brought to the foreground to do this show with. And she was actually, to me, I enjoyed, God forgive me, and not knocking the comedian chick, but I did enjoy the more refined chick as far as her presentation, when she spoke, how she interviewed people, the way she asked her questions. She made the conversation to me interesting. She went on an introspective and deep level that the comedian chick is not there. And the reason the comedian chick is not there is because you're still dealing with your stuff. And it's not to negate whatever it is that caused her to be who she is. It's like, who was that? Sherry Underwood? I think it was Sherry Underwood. And when she found out that Ellen DeGeneres had been molested by Ellen, I think molested by her dad or something like that. And I think Cheryl Underwood or whatever her name is from, it's the one where all of them talked. I forgot. I don't know if it's called The Talk. It might have been called Talk. I can't remember. But she shared her story about her childhood trauma of her mother, I think her mother's boyfriend. Sounded like he was raping her. And her mom did not believe her, which is just disgusting to me. But women who won't, the dick is more important than their kids. I'm sorry, it just bothers me. Been there. So when she said that what she went through and how she identified with Ellen, I was like, okay, some things have made sense. And like I said, and I'm not saying every female comedian has been sexually abused. I believe you've been through something. But there's something that has made you defensive, even when they were dealing openly on, I guess, one of their podcasts, where the friendship was starting to wrap up, and the one chick is like, I just want this to be business. I don't even want this to be about our friendships when it comes to the show. I just want it to be about money. Well, that tells me what your focus is, okay? That tells me where your focus is, which is not good. I'm not trying to say money is not important, but if you're doing this in a friendship and this business, both are going to be on the table. You can't say, okay, it's all about the money and the friendship is over to the side. No. Because when we walk in the room, we're still supposed to be friends. And when we're doing this interview, we're still supposed to be friends. We might be splitting some money as part of the business deal behind the scenes, but in essence, either we friends or we not. So what you're saying doesn't make sense. And for her, this is becoming too much for me. Because for me, I just want this to be surface level and about business, about money, about getting the bag, as they want to say. Whereas the refined chick, she's going through transformative things that God is doing in her life. So what he's doing and the financials, they play a part. But right now she's got a whole bunch going on the table. You can't, when God is moving, he's going to be moving in the whole of who you are. It's just not going to be in just these distinct area. Everything is going to be impacted. Everything. Everything. I tell you that for a fact. Everything. Everything's impacted. And there's biblical stories where you can see everything's impacted. Joseph is ripped away from his family, thrown into a pit, goes into prison in slavery in Egypt, and then becomes second. Everything about his life was transformative. Every aspect of his life was impacted. That's what happens when God takes over. Anything you're doing, if you have friendship involved, that friendship is still involved. And it's like one of my she was adopted, and she said she was talking about how our cooking in the family. So my aunt cooks too. My aunt's bakes, my mother's sister. And we're talking about, and I said every last person in the Lewis family can cook, pretty much. I don't know any of us who can't. And I said the sad part is if we could get along as a family, we could have had some tremendous restaurants all over. If we could get along as a family, if everybody could bring those culinary skills to the table, oh my God. Oh, we could have chains. And our we wouldn't be just limited to soul food, because we're not that type of family. Our palates are broad. And so I'm not, as I say, I'm not a traditional black eater. I tell that to Linda all the time. I said, because I love her, but she's a traditional black eater. Fried food, noodles, fried foods. I'm not a traditional black. I might be fat, but I'm not a traditional eater. I can eat. My top favorite food is Asian. Japanese, probably number one. I love sushi. So anything on the Japanese thing would be number one, and all the other Asian stuff fall underneath that. And then we probably get into anything from Indian to Middle Eastern being my next top favorites. So, and then and soul food is pretty low on the list. It's like soul food would be like a once a year thing for me. That's not my top thing. And I'm not a huge fried food person. I used to love fried chicken. Nowadays, give me some baked or grilled chicken. I'm the fried pig food thing, not my thing. I do like good food, but I don't like, no. Greasy food, like I said, every blue moon I get a craving for stuff. So when I looked at this and I saw this breakup between these two young ladies, and I guess it's a really big public thing, and the one girl who I could tell was really the more refined of the two, when she came to introduce her own channel, her own YouTube channel, and I think she's hit 100-some thousand already. I think she has. And she's just coming out with her own channel, introducing herself, independent of her comedian friend. And you kind of knew that the friendship was dissipating. She started up very regal. I love the look. She's on the cover of her main photo is her in this suit. And the suit is the sister bad. Sister, she's a pretty girl. Sister bad. Banging bad. I was like, oh, baby. And doing it in such a way. And so then her counterpart, the comedian chick, she's doing her comedy stuff, and she's claiming she's going through Christian stuff too. And I'm not saying she isn't, because I do believe she's going through something. That much I do believe, but I believe her journey is going to be a much more hard-headed journey, because I could tell by who you dealing with that you going, because she's too in love with money, in love with status. And when God has to break those two, if you're called to be his, baby, get ready for the ride. The other one is more humble and has already been broken enough to where she realizes, I got to submit. I can't run from God anymore. I got to submit. And this young lady is her anger, the comedian, I could see the anger coming out because she doing all this. It almost felt like when I'm watching her, I'm watching when a chick and a dude break up. And you know, the dude is he doing well, so then the chick goes and does all this extra. She fix herself up, she goes to parties, she make herself look good, she gonna put on that face like everything's okay and I'm still balling without you. That's what I'm getting from the comedic chick. And the sad part is she has the bigger platform, so she really truly don't need to do all of that. But because you're angry, covered up hurt, you coming and doing extra and trying to make it seem like I'm all right without you. And it was funny because, and again, I'm reading between the lines. The one who's more regal, she came and she said, she said there were some things and I thought about, I wanted to clap back. And I'm thinking to myself, don't do it. It's kind of like when I told y'all in my current company I'm at, when I came out of the training because of how I speak, there's a white guy in there in the little thing, and he made, because I said, told him, I said, hey, thank you, I'm happy I'm seeing, to me, I was seeing a company, and for the most part, I still see aspects of what I saw. The micromanage stuff with this chick, I don't know if that's going to continue, but because I got a new supervisor I'm supposed to have, hopefully she ain't the same way. But a lot of what I saw in the company as far as the fundamental foundations of it was very similar to two extremely good companies I worked for, and that's Schwab and Chase Manhattan, not JP Morgan. I can't tell you nothing about JP Morgan. I worked for Chase Manhattan and I worked for Schwab, and I'm talking about the original Schwab, not the one, I don't know what's going on with it now because original Chuck Schwab does not run it anymore. But I worked for that, and those two companies were very, very well run. The employee treatment was excellent. Our benefit packets were good. Both very customer focused. I like that. Customer internal and external. However, there's other ones I work for that are more sketch. But how can I put this? When I look at businesses, and this woman is running her business on her platform, your platform is doing well. You don't have to stoop down and compete with someone lesser than you. That's like Amazon now trying to compete with Walmart. Now, Walmart might want to try to come after you, but Amazon they don't. It's unnecessary. You're doing too big. You're too big. You don't have to. You don't have to stoop down to their level. Should you be somewhat competitive? Sure, but in some cases, you might not have to compete. Maybe you pay a little higher price because I know the service and the quality of products I'm getting. It's like for me, yes, I shop at Walmart, but who do I really prefer to deal with? Target. Now, to me, Target and Walmart are competitors, but Target is the more refined in comparison to Walmart. This chick is Target. The other chick is Walmart. Now, she might have 1.8 million viewership, and the other one's just coming up in the game with 164,000. But are you making it? Are you a little more ethical? Is your product better? And you have a niche. Stay in your lane. Go ahead and enjoy your lane. And if girl wants to deal with them folks in that 1.8 million, let her deal with them. If she want them, the hoodness folks, let her deal with that. God bless her. My prayer is that God will deal with her heart and will wake her up. But I saw, definitely, because I watched kind of both, because they both showed up on my feed after seeing the Jackie Hill interview. And I'm watching now as they're both trying to run their two channels. And I'm going to tell you, the comedian chick, it is not, at least for me, it's not content that I would be interested in. I was like, okay, she talked about her hair and how things went wrong and she lost her hair. I don't even like the look of the hair right now. But again, it's a little more ethnic than what I would like. I like the more refined Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey kind of professional look, opposed to the hoodness that you think is cool and cute, and I'm not, and trying to pop your collar and act like you're doing better than your counterpart because you're mad at them or you angry and you hurt. It's okay. Y'all got to grow in different directions, and that's okay. And they may end up coming back later in life and being able to interact with each other. Anthony came down. I haven't seen him since. I think he's deceased now because, like I said, he had some health issues that had me concerned. I would not have been shocked if he was HIV positive because he was very, very, very promiscuous. Typical of gay men. And so, a lot of gay men that I knew. And so, I don't know, but he came down, spent some time, but our friendship wasn't what it was. I did interact again with Jossie while she was sick, but our friendship wasn't what it was. And the season was over. And as she said, we had too much water under a bridge. There were some things that I was not going to deal with initially. And by the time I was ready to deal with it, I was in a different place, and she was now dealing with a health crisis. So, I'm pursuing ministry. You're dealing with a health crisis, and you still can't admit to your stuff. So we're not going to be on the same page because you got some deeper seated issues that you need to deal with. And even if we just finally sit down and talk about them transparently and deal with them, it's not something she could do. And it's okay because I also realized had we dealt with those issues early on, my coming to Christianity would have been much more difficult for our friendship. And answering my call to ministry. So things happen for a reason. And there's sometimes I wish I could sit down and talk with these both young ladies, and the one especially who's more refined, and tell her, you know what, don't worry about it. You young right now, and I know you're hurt by the loss of this friendship, but God has bigger plans. And you need to be working with him. You're gonna have people that are very close to you. Not everybody gonna make it in. And that's something that I have really come to embrace, is that not everybody's going to make it in. It's a hard cup of tea to swallow, that you have people that you truly love. And if this all ends, which I don't think is too far from now, tomorrow, and I'm not saying tomorrow is going to be the end, but if everything wraps up tomorrow, there's going to be a bunch of people who are going to buzz hell wide open. They're not going to make it to heaven. And they're going to be people you love. They're going to be children. They're going to be friends. They're going to be siblings. They're going to be family members. They're going to be aunts, uncles, mamas, daddies that are not going to make it in. And so sorry, because we all have choice that we make in this journey. So even when you have friendships that you have to walk away from, they could have a lot of money, they could be rolling, they could be popular. Do what God says do and walk away. And you're going to be okay. I'm not where I was at one point. Like I said, I used to roll in money. And I was saying I was wealthy, but as a single person and I had money, I didn't know what to do with. That's honestly. People go, oh yeah, come on, let's go. We go to expensive restaurants, I cover the bill. I'm not rolling like that anymore. I'm bouncing back from my own financial fall, but that financial fall was also part of my Joseph moment. So it's part of the growth that I needed. And it brought a level of humility, but a level of realness. And that's why I say some people, I've come to the conclusion I ain't going to be everybody's cup of tea. Within my own family line, you might not, I, I'm, I'm who you get. I'm really very honest about it, but some people can't handle that because some people can't handle that much forthrightness. And some people don't want to deal with their stuff. They'd rather live in delusion. Probably why me and Joe aren't hanging as tight, because I listen and I'm like, ooh. And I can't even listen to the family madness because I'm like, what you mean you didn't? He had a nephew who I knew when the boy dropped. I knew when the boy was going to most likely stay in college. This boy had full ride scholarship. I mean, I forgot. He had like almost half. He had a whole bunch of money between the full ride and extra scholarship he got from the agency that helped him. He didn't have to pay for nothing, not even the apartment he lived in. He didn't have. Joe gave the boy a car. They didn't even make the. I don't even think they made the first semester, and he dropped out. And then when I saw Joe, Joe's like, "Well, yeah, I didn't tell you that so and so dropped out of school." I said, oh, okay. I said, well, that's not shocking. You're not shocked? You're not surprised? I'm surprised. How the hell you surprised? You don't deal with this ratchet group of your family. How are you surprised, bruh? Everybody from your sister's line, her daughter, all of them are ratchet. So I'm not understanding. But we tend to, I don't know, some people tend to like to live in delusion. And I hear them rah-rah people who are just horrid. I'm not saying don't pray for them and don't have hope, but there's hope and there's real. I'm gonna pray for you to do better. I'm gonna hope you do better, and if you do better, hey, I'm there for you. But if you stay in the foolishness, all I can do is pray for you. Some people though, it's like they want to imagine something else and make that their reality. Look, you see my eyebrow? That's weird. They want to imagine something else and make that their reality. Okay, do you, boo boo? That's not me. And so for me, I'm a hard cup of tea. For some people to follow, because I'm transparent. I know I have generational curses. I look in the mirror. I know I'm not skinny. You know, I know certain things, and I'm just real about it. My problem is that people who don't live in the realness of it. I'm real. Yeah, I'm just real. And or who put themselves, and especially when you let other people bring in their madness. It's different dealing with your own madness, but having other folks' madness in your, and then you stressed out. No, I got my own level of just dealing with life in general. That's why I said this might become the reclusive channel, because when I go out and abroad, I'm just, you be sitting there going, "What the hell wrong with you?" That's me. I be sitting up there looking at folks like, "What's wrong with you?" And it's like, "Oh, okay, okay." And people just going through motions, trying to make themselves happy, and in absolute madness, copying other folks they see on the internet to try to be happy. It's absolutely astounding to me. I had a young lady at work who said, "Oh, I saw this on the TikTok, so I did my daughter's room exactly the same way." I need to know if there's any originality. And you did all that. I mean, it's not nothing wrong with showing love and coming up with ideas. But it's so, everything is like I gotta do what somebody else does. And it's more and more and more and more. One of my nieces talking about one of her kids' 8th grade graduation. I want to know what car mama gonna rent to rent. What, 8th grade graduation? Girl, bye. Y'all better have a cake. Congrats. Keep it going. Let's get through high school all the way, and then college. Hey, Jaden, what's up, baby? How you doing? I'm hanging, chin wagging about friendships and giving old people wisdom. And just like my friend, she took her 2 boys on $8,000 vacation. Came back, put together a committee where she asking people for money to get items for this big soiree graduation. I usually am on the weekends. I don't know. I might try to do, because somebody asked me, said you need to do more of the podcast or video logs during the week. But I'm also going to school, so like I got homework tonight after I get off of this. I ain't even looked at it right now. I'm so tired. I'm doing good in school. I just got the notification about the AA. They submitted it over to the junior college, so we'll see if I have enough of everything to get an AA. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know how many college credits I had at the junior college, so we'll have to cross that bridge. I think you had to have at least 15, and then you had to bring in so many from the university level, and then they'll give you your associate's degree. I can't answer that question. I'm gonna let them figure it out, and if I get it, it'll be a blessing. If I don't, it'll be all right. And I'm gonna fill out my financial aid tonight, so preferably get that all taken care of too. But yeah, friendships, when I saw that, it just made me think that that's something I want to talk on, is that we all have journeys and we all have seasons, and some seasons are lifelong and some seasons are not. So even though you had that friend or that associate that you really thought you were going to be, you're going to know them the rest of their life. It may not be so. And I remember one of my crazy ex-girlfriends, I have to say this, her mother used to have a saying, oftentimes we call people friends who aren't really friends, they're acquaintances, meaning that they're only going to be in our life for a very short season. Now, sometimes you do have friends, and those friends last for a period of time, but we all take a different journey. I had a cousin I hung out with in the early part of my little gay days, and I would have thought we'd still be hanging today. We don't even speak to each other now. We went some separate routes. She went a way different route than I went. To me, her gay stuff went a little bit darker for a little bit. I did not go that route. I still had this weird moral compass, even when I was active in the gay lifestyle. So I had a certain standard. I believed in monogamy, and I believe in dating a whole bunch of folks. I didn't do drugs. I wasn't smoking weed. I wasn't smoking. I'm not smoking nothing. And like I said, the most I would do is a cocktail. And even now, I'm just too much a person that has to have my faculties. I have to be in control of logical thinking. Being sloppy drunk, not knowing where I'm at, I can't. That's too weird to me. And I know that's just not me. I believe that's something that the Lord really placed in me, because I've been like that always. Like I said, there was even a standard in when I was in the gay lifestyle. It was funny because I was watching Lecrae and Jackie Hill Perry. They did a podcast together, and they were talking about when they were even in their relationships that weren't right, or they were doing things that weren't right, that they still had the God was on board moving. And Lecrae said how he used to tell women he had messed with that stuff they were doing wasn't right, and talking the Bible about it at the same time. And it's funny because I see how God has his hand in us, in our lives, even before we fully may walk into a more devoted and focused life on him. So I do see that too. And with these two young ladies, whisker, y'all, I got a whisker here, and I got one down here somewhere too. With these two young ladies, I see that. And they just went total opposites. So my prayer is that the more refined one doesn't clap back. She doesn't need to. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay in the lane God has given you. And pray for your old friend. Let her go through her journey. I had to do the same thing with my friend Jocelyn. I had to, we ended the friendship. She went her journey. All I can do is pray for her. And the last I talked to her, I know she was right. We had dealt with some stuff that she really hadn't dealt with, but that she was dealing with. Because then she told me, I'm writing you a letter, when she found out she was deathly ill, because she has a worse form of lupus. And they had initially given her 6 months to live. She lived a lot longer than that, and I don't know if she's still living, because her uncle was who he was. He got her into the Mayo out here in Arizona. So I think that helped extend her life. Because he got her better doctors based on, that's where money and prestige come in, based on his situation. He was able to get her, better care. So I don't know if she's still alive today. We don't really talk. We don't interact, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, because like I said, there were areas that she had not dealt with. And I'm happy that we never dealt with that, because it would have been very hard for me to walk away from the lifestyle had she dealt with it, with her stuff. And this way, it wasn't hard, because I kept it in a very strong friendship mode. And this is something, and not saying I don't know, like I said, the relationship with these two young ladies, and not giving it any kind of, it's just kind of, how can I put it? It was an unnatural closeness. And it could just be because one of them was, I do believe the more refined one was a lot more latched on to her friends during all her stuff, all her emotional stuff. And she had sounds like she had a lot of emotional stuff going on. But at the same time, there was, I don't know, it was just a strange closeness. And like I said, the response that the comedian chick is doing reminds me more of a response I would see from a chick who was in a breakup with a dude. Because she doing all like, I'm good without you, I'm gonna be okay. You could just tell she's doing it. I done did this big birthday party. Pub. I'm like, oh my God, you doing too much, and you angry. All I could think of was you angry, and you need to just, girl, sit down. Just sit down, and let the Lord deal with you, because the Lord needs to. But that's part of her journey. She's got to go through her madness. The other one, God is dealing with you, and you're on the path. Stay on the path. Hopefully, baby girl will catch up. Pray for her, and just you keep aiming towards your mark. Because right now you can't be worried about her. She's gonna go through her stuff. You can't worry about her. And that's kind of where you have to get. I pray for my friend Jossie. I pray that she knows the Lord. I pray my friend Anthony would come to the Lord. I don't know if he ever would. I pray for Joe. I pray for my best friend. My best friend, she say Catholic, but I don't even believe that either. I pray for her. It's all you can do. And I pray that God shows himself to them. He saves them. But I don't know. It's like when Grumpy died. I hope he got it right. Monty had a lot of butthole tendencies. But as I met, like I said, as I met the extended family, a lot of things made sense. And honestly, he had come a long way with the demons he had on board, and he had a bunch of demons, especially tied in his generational family line. I know, I know, because I deal with them in a different way, and I've been blessed to deal with them. It might be why I'm more reclusive too, because I'm sitting up here looking at when I walk out this door, folks is strange. Folks are strange. My neighbor the other day. He's two doors down. Now, I've been here since 2019. He's never asked me for a dime, not even a penny. Knock on my door. I'm trying to get ready for work because I'm working from home that day. And I'm like, I said, who is it? And he told me, and I was like, oh, I said, honey, I'm getting ready for work. What do you need? I'll wait. Red flags. So then I told him meet me in the back because I had to take trash out and was getting dressed. So I put on my little, shorts and t-shirt because I was working at home. And I said, look, I got to go to work. What's going on? He asked me for $100. And I had that because like I said, I'm doing a little maintenance on the car. And I was tight on funds. And I said, do you need gas? And he said, somebody had to get a part. And I said, well, I may have $20. I don't know. I have to look at my account. I said, if I could spare. I said, but I don't have that right now. And he goes, oh, that'll help. And I'm like, okay. And I said, well, do you need gas? So he's like, well, yeah. And I said, well, I can get you a gas card, And I did a Gap gift card, and I told him, you don't have to pay me back. He's like, well, I'll give you have to give me 1 red cent back because I'm not gonna loan you any cash because I don't have that right now. But $100, I don't know you like that. But I believe everybody's going through something. We're all got hard times. Very nice man down on the end. And I did. I got him a gas card and sent it to his email, electronic Chevron gas card, and hope that helps him. Maybe he can get somewhere to a family member or something like that. But I don't know you like that. I mean, had I had cash, maybe $30-$40. But $100, I'm not loaning you. I don't know you like that. And we've all had hard times, but I'm not knocking on my neighbor's door for money. I have to be in. I'm not knocking on my neighbor's door for money. So that was a little different because we don't. I mean, other than hello and bye, that's it. I don't really talk to you like that. But it's a different world, and that's why I said I'm more reclusive because folks are different. And I even watching people, watching how they think, watching how they act, it's different. It's just different. And like I said, I'm sitting up here just observing these two ladies on social media, which is deep. The ones handling hers are like, I hope she stays in that vein and don't do anything bad. The other one, I'm just like, what's wrong with you? And you saw you on drop them glasses down. Baby, what's wrong with you? But I realize her focus is more, she's just trying to do a lot to seem like I'm better than you. I'm still, you got your feet too dipped in the world. You got your feet dipped in the world, and then trying to talk about God, but you're not there yet. Not saying that's not something that's playing with her, but I can just tell she's nowhere near there yet. She's still wrapped too much in the world. And whatever I want to know what the deeper issues are. She's not talking about her deeper trauma. So, she's trying to be like this other girl. You're not there yet because you're not as transparent with your damages, and you're not as submitted to God. So, anyway, y'all take from it what you want. But what I am going to say for you, and this is my fluffy grandma wisdom, not every friendship is going to be lasting. What you do is you grow from the friendships while you have them. You gain from them what you can gain that are good. You glean from them what you can glean that are good. and you learn from the bad stuff and the good stuff. And then you savor the great moments that you had with that individual. And you learn from it. My buddy Joe, very sweet person on a lot of levels. I savor certain moments that we've had that have been funny and silly things that we do. When Linda comes, we have a good time. But at the same time, I realize now, A, he's a lot older. Joe is 68, I think he said. 68, 69. I am 55. So if you understand, when you start hitting those 60s, your whole, everything shifts. Like when he drives now, he's driving like a grandpa. We driving in a 35-mile-an-hour lane, and Joe's going 25, 29. 40 miles, and people are, almost went through a light with me and him in the car. He's still caught up in the prestige of his Range Rover. We have a friend that has come back to town. He's like, oh, I want to invite you over for dinner. And when I dropped off at our house, I said, you know, I want to invite you over. He wants to show off the house. And that's fine. It's okay to be impressed, but for him, status is important. I give a good doggone about status anymore. Those things don't matter to me. It's just like the lady that I'm reporting to at the job. I don't know what's true or false. Well, I see you as a leader. Why? Because to them, by saying leader, you think I'm going to go and jump through all these hoops and do the splits. I'm going to do what the base job tells me to do to put that paycheck in my account. I'm too old for the political game anymore. I'm too old to be proving myself to somebody to try to move up corporate chain. All that's done. And then there's a bunch of politics. And then you get people who get jealous. Then they want to stab you in your throat and your neck. I'm too tired and old. I hadn't had the energy to play the game in my young days. I dang sure at the 55 am not there. Put the check in the account. I'm just not there anymore. And when I say recluse, just being out in the world right now, I went simply to wash my car, and chicks are smoking weed by my car. I'm like, you can't even go wash your car. I can't do it. Anyway, y'all, we had 101 minutes. I'm about to get off of here. I hope y'all all have a blessed day. I'll be on, like I said, on the weekends. I'm going to try to be on around 3 o'clock. I'm trying to spend a little more time in the house, not out as much, but I went yesterday just to wash the car and stop at the grocery store. I left out at about 11, 12-ish. I didn't get back till 3 or 4 o'clock in the evening. I'm like, what the heck just happened? It's crazy. All right, go back to work. Be safe, Jason. Jaden, I'll be back on here next Saturday or Sunday. Just be looking for the alert. Anyway, y'all, peace, 2 and 2. I'm out. And Tanya, when I get to the garden, I will take the camera out there and film it. And y'all get to see me ripping out stuff and putting the beds back up, because I haven't planted anything yet, but we're getting ready to. And I might have to go to some of the big box store and get plants. Peace. Love you too, bro. Be safe. Peace, y'all.